Public Lands and Buildings Committee, June 6, 2024.
I'm going to call the Public Lands and Buildings Committee to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Members present are Zion Hickman, Carolyn Shireman, Christopher Moritz, myself, Sierra, and Sherrick, Chair. First up, public participation. Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 23rd, 2024, regular Public Lands and Buildings Committee meeting.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Moritz, a second from Ms. Shireman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, next up is selling of the North End Fire Station. Is that you, Mr. Truka? Or are we not ready for that yet?
No, I provided everybody copies.
It's in here.
It was in our
Yep.
It's in part Rebecca somewhere.
We went ahead and had two different realtors. We had Garbett Realty from New Washington, Ohio, and then we had Katona Realty from Bucyrus, Ohio. There's four different lots behind Wendy's, so the way it's listed. I'm not sure how you guys would want to split it up, but there's always been the understanding the lot just south of Clady's, for so long everyone thought that that was just an alley, but it's not an alley. It's actually a lot, a separate lot, but the city has always used it for parking and part access to the alleys that run north and south. And then there's property just to the west of Wendy's, across the alley from John Gobrick's Pisanello's pizza place. And predominantly that space on the east side of the alley that runs north and south, that's predominantly used by employees, by the people that work at Wendy's. It's kind of a shame that before Wendy's started building here recently, would have been nice if that could have been made available to Wendy's, because I don't know. It seems as though there's difficulty getting into Wendy's. We thought that maybe we could reach out to Wendy's here and then like next week sometime and let them be known, let them know that this property, as well as reach out to Clady's and the people in the general vicinity that would be most benefit to them. But that's up to you guys. That's up to you as a committee. So I won't do anything until I'm told otherwise. And then when we go back to 606 North Sandusky Street, the fire station, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's that range of price for the sale of the property, it's pretty close between the two realtors. There's $25,000 difference, but the potential is it could bring a lot more money than that. The building on the North Sandusky Avenue is really in good shape. There's like Murphy beds that surround the walls. They've deteriorated pretty bad. when they had water in that building, instead of getting down there and having fans running and dehumidifiers running, it was pretty much set without doing anything. So the Murphy beds wicked moisture up into them, ruined all the mattresses in every one of those units. So, and those were, we did see maybe one mattress that was stored in a fire truck that is not operational down there. And it was like a brand new.
I got the story from Chad about that mattress. So it was a fireman's mattress, but it was city property. So they needed someplace historic as he purchased his own personal mattress to bring into the fire station. So that's actually a fire station mattress.
Okay, well, I was going to say, it's in great shape, and it's a beautiful mattress. So, but I don't know, the building is really pretty nice. I mean, it's got 2 big bays in it, and it's got an office area where the dispatchers used to sit, and right off to the dispatcher's office where they would sit, they actually had their own separate restroom facility with a sink. And then there was also a separate restrooms for the firemen that actually slept in the facility. And of course, it's got heating and gas heat and air conditioning in the facility. And I have the understanding, I believe the roof was someone put a new roof on it, I don't know, in the last 15 years or so.
4 years.
4 years ago?
4 years ago.
One thing I know, I have the understanding that, I don't know if there's a warranty with the roof because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. I have the understanding. Something about you got to have a roofing contractor come back on a yearly basis and just go through the motions and make sure that the roof is up to snuff so they can sign off on the warranty on the roof. But everything looks pretty decent down there. I know that everything seems to be operational down there. I think that Mr. Garbrick, he did a pretty good job of comparing the different properties that were comparable in price to what the firehouse is. So, but that will be something for you guys to discuss. So I don't really have anything to say other than that, but, so, okay? I mean, any questions that I can answer? It'd be nice if what we could do is if you guys could take a tour of the firehouse and take a walking tour. I mean, when we went up as a council, when we went up and looked at the state highway garage, we went with the understanding that, there's no discussion, no decisions could be made, but we toured the state facility at Irving Street, and maybe you guys could do something similar fashion, is to take a tour of the fire station and get your own eyes on the facility, and maybe the same way with Wendy's, and give you guys a different point of view, I guess. But, okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions?
I don't at this time.
Okay, so we now have an amount. Do we want to have the administration see what they can do about selling it, putting it up for auction, going through the CIC with a set minimum? I mean, what are we looking at? Does anybody have any ideas?
I think it's a good idea, but I also would like to do what the mayor said and tour it ourselves too, because I haven't seen it yet myself either yet.
On the inside.
On the inside. On the inside.
You drive past it every
I
day.
drive past it every day, yeah.
All right, so do we want to just see if we can set up times to go see it?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So I guess we will figure out what to do after we set up a time to go see it. All right, so selling of the city-owned lots was along with all that. So now we are at wavelength contract.
Let me know, I'm gonna go out in the hallway, and when you're done discussing this, I'd like to come back.
Okay, did anybody have anything on the wavelength contract?
Sure. So I think one of the questions was wavelength cameras on city-owned property. And we had discussed the foundation and some of the people around the city were concerned about murals and other art, and that was part of the reason some of those cameras were installed. In talking to Mr. Fankhauser, we're working with King Office Supplies, who's going to be helping us on the internal network of our computer system to transfer. And then one other thing that they are going to do for us is then transfer those cameras that are on city infrastructure to the server down in the city police department, so that those cameras are now in-house instead of in Wavelength's control and possession. So I don't know that we would need to do like a contract for Mr. Fankhauser renting space on poles, since we're going to actually be the ones in control of those moving forward. So I think that that would rectify that issue. Some of the other issues, still working with COSI to, I mean, they've come back with us with some suggestions. We're just talking to them about price points and things to that effect. As far as remedying, there's a lot of things that hadn't been looked at for quite some time. So they have a lot of suggestions that we're looking at, and I don't know that they have gotten back with us with a number, correct?
No, they have not. No, they have not gotten back with us yet.
So we're waiting on that, and then waiting on the Ethics Commission. But as far as the contract for cameras or other infrastructure on our infrastructure, I think that the way we rectify that, and to assure that the our murals, art parks, the fountain, that type of stuff is not vandalized, is we'll just put those with the other multitude of cameras that are hardwired, or I don't know what the word is, but accessible only through the police department.
Come up here just in case. I can hear you, but I don't know how much the microphone picks up.
Just to clarify, when Law Director Mr. Gernert has spoke that whether they have gotten back with us, just to clarify, we did have them come, and they spent an entire day with us doing the investigations and running all their tests. So when we say that they didn't get back with us yet, they haven't gotten back to us with all their test results. So you guys understand that. And then the other part of it is that, just so you understand, the cameras that had showed up on the square at the mural, they showed up in about 2018. That's when they were installed. Colonel Crawford, when he lost his head on courthouse, that's when the Community Foundation decided that it's high time that they actually have operational cameras instead of that fake one that they had in the First Merit second floor building. They had one that just had a red flashing light that didn't do anything. So that's when those cameras showed up. So just to clarify that.
Thank you. All right, so this one's just still sitting here for everything to come back still yet?
Yeah, I think that's good. Making progress.
All right. If somebody wants to text Kurt and let him know he can come back in the room. Do we have anything on the open projects list? Anything for open projects? All right, do we have any public participation? All right, seeing none, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 6:15 PM.
Economic Development Committee, June 6, 2024.
I'd like to call Economic Development's order at 6:16 PM. Members present are Vicki DeShawn, Carolyn Shireman, Christopher Moritz, and myself, Zion Hickman, Chair. Have any public participation for economic development? Seeing none, move to the approval of minutes from the May 23rd, 2024 regular Economic Development Committee meeting. Have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve it. May
Second.
23rd, 2024.
I have a motion from Mr. Moritz, a second from Ms. Shireman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. I'm delayed.
Do we have any open projects you want to discuss?
Zion, what are we going to do on JED? I know you had really done a lot of work on that. Is that something we want to leave on our projects list, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I still have yet to set up a time with David Zach.
Okay, great.
I know he's been really busy, and so have I.
Thank you.
I don't have anything.
Do you have any other public participation for economic development? Seeing none, I will adjourn at 6:16 PM.
Service Committee, June 6, 2024.
Service Committee called to order at 6:19. Members present, C. Aaron Sherrick, Kevin Myers, Zion Hickman,
Is absent?
absent. Sorry about that. I myself, Chair, Chris Moritz. Any public participation this time? Seeing none, I'd like a motion for approved minutes for May 23rd, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular service committee meeting for May 23rd, 2024.
Second.
First by C. Aaron Sherrick, second by Kevin Myers. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing, motion passes. Any open projects anybody wants to talk about this time?
No, sir.
Back to public participation. Seeing none, I will adjourn at 6:20.
June 6, 2024.
I call the Health and Safety Committee meeting to order at 6:21 PM. Members present are Kevin Myers, C. Aaron Sherrick, James Mee is absent, and I'm present, Vicki DeShawn, Chair. First, public participation. Seeing no one, I'll ask for a motion for the approval of the May 23rd, 2024 regular Health and Safety Committee meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular Health and Safety Committee meeting minutes from May 23rd, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Sherrick and a second from Mr. Myers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Open projects. I want to give a little report on our trap, neuter, and return. I've been talking with Law Director Gernert, and he is working on preparing a draft piece of legislation for the committee to review. I've also been speaking with Darla Lewis, who is setting up the trap, neuter, and return program. I want to make sure I'm referring to her correctly. Yes, Darla Lewis. And what we're going to do is, once we have the draft prepared and it's been given to the committee, or it's been given to me, I'm going to see then that Miranda gives it to the committee members, and then also to Mrs. Lewis, so that we have some time to look over the draft, and then we'll schedule or we'll place that on an agenda of one of our Health and Safety Committee meetings, and that's fine with Mrs. Lewis, that timetable, so.
Madam Chair.
Sure.
Do you have an email for Darla Lewis at all?
No, all I have is just the phone number.
Okay. I'll make a copy for her to pick up then.
Pardon?
I'll just make a copy for her to pick up then.
Okay. Any other open projects to talk about? Public participation again? Seeing no one, I adjourn the Health and Safety Committee meeting at 6:23 PM.
Platting Committee, June 6, 2024.
Calling the Platting Committee to order at 6:25 PM. Members present are Carolyn Shireman, Vicki DeShawn, and myself as Chair Pro Tem, acting chair, because Mr. Me is absent. First, we have public participation. Okay, seeing none, I would accept a motion for the approval of the minutes from May 23rd.
I move to approve the May 23rd, 2024 regular Platting Committee meeting minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next on the agenda, it's changes to BCO 1189.03B, general servicing requirements.
So you guys have an ordinance drafted, we had a public hearing on that, 1187.03. There was some discussion at the public hearing about limiting this to
DB district.
just the, general business or
The downtown business district.
downtown business district. So I don't know, that would not be difficult to do. Since we've had a public hearing on that issue, we wouldn't necessarily have to have a further public hearing if you wanted to modify that based upon the information coming out of the public hearing. But
Does anybody have any input on that? How do they feel? Neither of you guys, so then Mr. Fankhauser?
The public hearing, it was brought up, does this apply to the all zoning districts or just the downtown? And Mr. Hill, Landon Hill, said it would apply to all of them, and then I asked, well, so if you, because this would be restricting the BZA's ability to even give a variance to allow stone instead of asphalt or concrete. And the issue I asked was, so if a storage unit complex wants to build on the edge of town, do they have to have concrete or asphalt? And he said if this is passed, yes, they would, and the BZA would have no ability to grant a variance. So I said, well, I see issues with this then, and a couple other people agreed, and we thought it kind of was mentioned maybe only doing this in the DB district, which is the downtown business district. So basically the BZA would still have authority to grant variances in the other further out districts outside of the downtown business district.
Ms. DeShawn?
Thank you, Mr. Fankhauser, for your explanation, and I concur. Just having this for the downtown, the DB or downtown business district, that these changes only are for.
Right.
Well, currently, we have, all of it is in there where you're supposed to have the hard surfaces. And the BZA is the ones that could give the variance, correct? Isn't that the way it's written now? So right now, this is just to get rid of it so that they can't make that variance?
I think that there had been some discrepancies in the various ways in which the prior zoning administrators interpreted what a hard, durable, dustless surface meant. And so I think that this was an effort to clean that language up so that there was not really interpretation. It is or it isn't. But yes, then I think the BZA had also historically given some variances and allowed some different materials. But I think so. I think that what we would do is, if this is what the committee wanted, but you would make this hard, durable, dustless surface using asphalt, concrete, or cement, and say that, and that would be the rule for downtown business district, and any other business district, if you're not, any other district, if you're not using asphalt, concrete, or cement, and you're not a single-family residence, you have to get a variance granted through the Board of Zoning Appeals.
But, I said, but that's still how it is. I'm just wondering, the hospital, how long did they have a variance for it while they had that lot stone? Because they were working on it for so long, because they had an extension for keeping that lot stone. I mean, and we wouldn't be able to do that if the zoning board wasn't allowed to give out variances.
Is the hospital in the downtown business district?
I believe so.
Well, and I think that, so,
And I mean,
those are approved in your construction permits, because that's not what it's permitted. It's permitted to be a concrete or asphalt, whatever, parking lot. But yes, during construction, which would be something to work with the engineering department and the zoning department in issuing permits. Okay, you have timeframes.
yeah, I was gonna say, I know that they had done
They have
some
discretion,
extensions for their
right.
timeframes because of everything that was taking so long.
Right.
I just looked up the zoning for the hospital. They are not in the downtown
Okay.
business district, they are in the general business district.
But it's
It,
still going to apply at some point. But yeah, so I mean, you could modify this to basically say, permanent construction, or all
final
final
construction.
construction must be, something so as to allow the zoning department a little bit of leeway, or the engineering department a little bit of leeway during those constructions, because obviously you don't want to drive all of your construction equipment over a asphalt finished lot to tear it up right before you open.
Yeah, because that was my big worry when we started talking about this. I was like, well, right now, isn't there just a way to say, hey, could the zoning board of appeals put in there specifically, because they're the ones that can make the ability right now to change it. So, I mean, if we were to just still allow because I think that they did a really good job. It's very rare that they don't do something that's in the best interest of the city. I don't see limiting what they're doing. I just, but those were my thoughts on it the other day. It was, I think that they're doing a good job of it. So for these items, Mr. Germer, what is our next step that we needed to do?
For the parking lot, I mean, I can write it up so as to basically keep it similar to what it currently is, and giving the BZA the authority to make those decisions, which is kind of the status quo. We can write it up so that the BZA wouldn't have authority to grant variances in the downtown business district on final construction. I mean, you can have a temporary lot, but if that's a final lot, then it would have to be concrete, asphalt, cement, or something that the engineering department would approve. And then in all other districts, the BZA could grant variances to allow for, based upon, standards and usage and those types of common industry types considerations. We could table it and bring Landon back. We could do nothing and continue with the status quo.
What do you guys think?
I think we want to do something. And, you know, just as Mr. Gernert stated, we would have a section that would talk about, you know, where the BZA does have authority on the surfacing, and then a section on where the BZA has no authority on the granting of variances for the downtown business. I don't think we want to leave it as it is right now. That is the proposed draft.
So, I think then, Madam Chairperson, I would bring back to committee next, in 2 weeks, a revised version of this, which basically says that we're going to treat the downtown business district one way, and then treat the rest of our zoning a different way, and give the BZA authority to make variances on everything but the downtown business district. And then you guys can review that in 2 weeks.
Thank you, that sounds amazing. And for home occupancy, which is the next one, 118701.
I think that this committee would need, at that point, just to ask for formal legislation to be prepared to be brought before council.
And we need to make a motion for that?
We do, and it's not an emergency.
It's like it could be.
I was thinking it wasn't.
Do we have anybody who'd like to make a motion?
I make a motion.
For the formal writing to be brought to council, or back to this committee to pass? Mr. Gernert?
To council.
Okay.
So Ms. Shire, or somebody would make a motion to prepare legislation to be brought before the whole council in line with the modifications for 1187.01 and 1187.03, which were discussed at the public hearing.
You gonna say so moved?
Yeah.
So moved.
So moved from Ms. Shireman. Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Shireman, a second from Ms. DeShawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, now 216 to 320 East Woodlawn.
I know, Mr. Me, that was about the the church owned by Mr. Rebon, and Mr. Me had discussed that with Mr. Hill, and I don't know what the question or issue is, so I guess we just wait.
We table that one for the next time for Mr. Me to be able to get his input in here. That works. Okay, so do we have anything else on open projects?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Shaw.
Just a little update on our draft legislation that we had requested Mr. Gernert to prepare concerning ponds in residential areas. He has prepared a draft that's been submitted to all the committee members for their review. I did deliver a copy of that draft to Mr. Gary Diver, who was the individual who had come and spoke at our Platting Committee meeting, and gave it to him for his review as well. Told him that we would be placing that on our committee agenda for the second meeting in the month of June, and he will be present for that meeting to talk more and answer any questions that anyone may have, or ask questions that he may have.
Mr. Gernert.
You had referenced some revisions in either the Ohio Revised Code or the Administrative Code. Do you know where they're at?
No, that's, my question was, I know that they'd had something, and I didn't know if anything that we were doing would go against it. I just want to make sure we're...
Gotcha. So I haven't, yes, nothing that I've seen.
I don't want to do something where we're putting our foot in the
Yeah,
wrong
and nothing
hole.
that I've seen, and what I proposed is basically just kind of using the rules that we had for pools and making them for ponds as well, for safety and those types of things, which is kind of what I've seen other communities do. So the only thing that Mr. Hill talked about, when we extended water lines, there's some sort of caveat that you can't use ponds for accessory water for human consumption or something. And I know if you're going to do that, the health department gets involved in all those types of things. But that was something that Landon asked me to talk to Mr. Ernsberger about, what that was and why they did that. And,
Okay.
but I had never contemplated that.
Excellent. All right, so do we have anything else on there? All right, any public participation? Seeing none, I will adjourn the meeting at 6:40 PM.
To order at 6:41 PM. James Mee is absent. Present is Christopher Moritz, Vicky DeShawn, and myself, Chair. Is there any public participation for finance? Seeing none, you have before you the minutes for the May 23rd, 2024 regular Finance Committee meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve May 23rd, 2024 meeting minutes.
I second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Moritz, second by Ms. DeShawn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. All right, we have appropriations for the demolition of 539 South Lane Street in the amount of $12,400. This was a reimbursement from FEMA. Are we doing these as the same piece of legislation or two separate?
They could be the same, but it was actually not a reimbursement from FEMA. So this was from the land bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, I misspoke as soon as I said it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so this is going to be appropriated into the general fund under Program 7, General Government, under 23 Contractual Services, $12,400.
All right, you want to, if we're going to do them on one piece of legislation, you want to then go over the basketball courts as well?
Yeah. And then also, we're going to be appropriating for the rehabilitation of the basketball court at All Miller Park in Fund 250 Park and Recreation Land under Department 7770 Lands and Buildings, and item 23 Contractual Services, the amount of $5,000.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, do you know, a question about the basketball courts. I'm trying to remember how long it's been since we did those, probably in the ballpark of 5 to 8 years.
Yes,
Was there any type of a warranty that you're familiar with on that?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay, have we checked with the
Yes,
company to do it?
yes, we've had a
Okay.
gentleman here like 3 different times.
Okay.
And,
All right, so we need a motion for emergency legislation for these two appropriations, the $12,400 into the contractual services line item of general government of Program 7, as well as the $5,000 into contractual services in the lands and buildings in the Parks and Recreation Fund.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. DeShawn, second by Mr. Moritz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion carries. Any open projects that you would like to discuss, Ms. DeShawn?
No, I have none.
Mr. Moritz?
I do not either.
The Lord be with you. All right, public participation. Anybody have any public participation for finance? Seeing none, we will adjourn at 6:44 PM.